Okay, guys. So I put a little note on top of my computer that says, look here, so that I'm looking into the camera and not looking like a dork into the screen, which is really very distracting when I see myself below me with these crazy pigtails. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you guys through the answers that you should have gotten through the little videos from pages 22 to pages 28. Now, yes, so starting on page 22. And you're a tardy. Do you have a pass? That's what I thought. Okay. Alrighty, so the first video you guys had was the greenhouse effect and global warming. So this video right here. And let's talk through this a little bit. So the first question asked you guys, what's the difference between weather and climate? And what you should have understood from the video is that weather is sort of day to day and climate is over a long period of time. Then the next question was, how do scientists measure the average world temperature in the past eons? And if you recall, they were looking at ice core samples. And then the third question asked, before 8000 BC, dramatic changes in average temperature occurred over just a few years' time. And what? Yes, you'd go to the bathroom, just sign up, take the bath. Do you believe? I still get interrupted in instruction. Crazy. All right. So it asks what was happening to the global climate before 8000 BC. So what they talked about was that there were wild fluctuations in the world temperature until about 8000 BC. So that's what they saw there. Then you should have answers down for climate change graph analysis because I walked you through that activity. And let's see, now we're on page, sorry, my booklet is a little bit different than yours, page 23, which is accidentally numbered as page 21 in your booklet, but it is in between pages 22 and 24, so it is page 23. And then you took a look at a video about climate change that happened in Djibouti, Africa. So first, it talked about the tilt of the earth and how is the tilt of the earth related to our changing seasons. And what you should have gleaned from that is it makes the sun more or less intense. So say, let's see, what do I have? Okay, so this is going to have to be our Earth right here. And then I guess my fist is going to be the sun. So, and this is us. So, well, that's really the equator, the Mr. and the Mrs. And we can say this is us up here at the lip, right? So in the wintertime, right, we're up like this. And so we're not getting direct sunlight anymore. It's very, very indirect. So that's going to cause our winter. And then summer in the southern hemisphere. And then as our planet slowly rotates forward again on its axis, then we are in summertime. And then the South Pole is in, well, not South Pole, but Southern Hemisphere is in wintertime. Alrighty, so how does the tilt on its axis relate to our changing seasons? So it really makes the sun more or less intense. So technically, we're a wee bit closer to the sun when we're in the summertime and a wee bit further away in the wintertime. What evidence do the shells provide to scientists? So they found shells in Djibouti. Djibouti is actually a desert. And so now they found shells there. And what does that suggest? It says Djibouti used to be wet and there used to be a lake. What is the most recent scientific explanation for the dramatic climate change that caused the Sahara's massive lakes to dry up? So in the video, they talked about that every so often, so the Earth is not orbiting around the sun in a perfect circle. It's sort of, it's like more like an oval, so in sort of an elliptical fashion. And at one time during this orbit, the planet was actually close to the sun and it was tilting closer to the sun as well. And while it was closer to the sun in the orbit, and tilting on its axis as it usually does, it became much warmer in that area, and then it changed weather patterns, and then that's how it sort of got dried out. So there was a strong tilt, and then there was more evaporation than usual, and then it sort of all dried out. Alrighty, then the next video that you looked at was the physics of the greenhouse effect. And the first question asks, what is the greenhouse effect? So gases absorb and radiate heat back out into space. So kind of like a greenhouse. If we lived somewhere where it was a lot colder, like people that live in Alaska, a lot of them have greenhouses because that glass holds in the heat of the sun, and then they can, grow more vegetables and stuff for their food. Number 2, what are some naturally occurring greenhouse gases? So methane occurs naturally in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide naturally occurs in the atmosphere. Animals put that in the atmosphere. Plants use that to create oxygen for us. Water vapor is naturally in the atmosphere. Nitrous oxide naturally in the atmosphere. Number 3, what would Earth be like without the greenhouse effect? Well, we'd be freezing. It'd be pretty cold. Number 4, what are some man-made sources of greenhouse gases? So once again, we come back to talking about fossil fuel, burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, natural gas, that releases excess carbon emissions, so excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and it's going in at an unnatural rate, and the planet cannot reabsorb that, like the plants just cannot use that fast enough for photosynthesis to get that removed out of our atmosphere. All right, then the last video that you looked at, which I always think is the coolest because it's that guy sitting in front of a CO2 chamber. Why does the image of the scientist fade after carbon dioxide has been turned on? So in the video, he's sitting with like an infrared x-ray showing his body heat, and then he fills up a tube with carbon dioxide. And what happens is the carbon dioxide actually absorbs the heat. How does this explain the greenhouse effect? Well, carbon dioxide absorbs or holds on to heat. That's why scientists hypothesize the planet is getting warmer. More carbon dioxide means that more heat is being held onto, hence the planet getting warmer. Number 2, what would the scientist feel like if he were inside the tube? Well, he'd probably feel like he was getting warmer. Let's see. How does this explain the effect of carbon dioxide on the temperature of the atmosphere? So once again, more carbon dioxide is going to make the atmosphere warmer. How long, number 3, how long does it take for carbon dioxide to spread throughout Earth's atmosphere? So it only takes 1 year. So you're driving around your car and your car is emitting, or even riding around the bus and your car is emitting and the bus is emitting carbon dioxide emissions. So 1 year for that to spread around the planet. How long does it take to be reabsorbed into the ocean? So it takes 100 years for it to be absorbed in the oceans. So our oceans do provide a way for carbon dioxide to be removed from the atmosphere. But once again, so much is being put in the atmosphere that it's going into the ocean at a faster rate. And then that's causing our oceans to become more acidic. Alrighty, then the conclusion, what tools or methods are used to study climate change in the history of the Earth? So what did they look at in our interactivity? Well, they looked at ice core samples, right? Looked at things like, and in the ice core samples, they looked at things like methane and insulation, those kinds of things. They've taken a look at fossils, right? That's what they looked at in Djibouti, Africa. They took a look at fossils there. They take a look at carbon dioxide and the properties of carbon dioxide. Number 2 in the conclusion, what is the general climatic trend on Earth as revealed by the evidence gathered through these methods? Well, the trend is there is more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and so the temperature of the planet is in fact rising. In what ways are humans having an effect on the concentration of greenhouse gases? What are we burning? Yep, fossil fuel. Anytime you're burning coal, natural gas, oil, petroleum, a power plant, all those things, you're going to be putting carbon emissions in the atmosphere. All right. Let's take a look at page 23. So let's see, Mauna Loa, I took a look at that graph, and then you had to take a look at ice and global warming. Alrighty, so why are glaciers indicators of climate change? So the video talked about how sensitive glaciers are to temperature. Some of the factors that affect input and output of a glacier are temperature, precipitation, humidity, and reflectivity. Which appears to be the most important, and why? Well, temperatures, for sure. Temperatures are going to cause glaciers to advance, right? If it's colder, they're going to advance. If it's warmer, those glaciers are then going to retreat. List some reasons why a decrease in glacial ice would increase the temperature of the Earth. So I thought this was actually kind of interesting. So ice actually helps insulate the water from the atmosphere, and the ice reflects the sun. So as the ice melts and more water is absorbed to the atmosphere, more heat is going to move. Heat moves from water in the atmosphere into the water in the ocean. So that's how the oceans are heating up, and plus the ice is not there to reflect it back. Alrighty, then on that page you took a look at Mountains of Ice Interactive. I walked you through that. And then on page 25, El Nino. What is El Nino? Well, El Nino is a change in weather pattern. A change in weather pattern. See, I'm having a hard time looking at that little dot up there. Hey, you in the back, take those headphones out. All right, change in weather pattern. So warm water in the Pacific is supposed to be warm water in the Pacific towards Australia. If you remember in the video, the trade winds weaken and that water sloshes back to the east towards South America. Exactly what happens during an El Nino event. So the trade winds weaken and then the warm water moves from west back to east. So it moves from Australia back to South America. So it's supposed to be warm and wet over here. But during an El Nino, and it's warm and wet because the winds blow this way, and they're literally blowing the water this way. And then when those trade winds weaken and the water is no longer being pushed that way, the warm water just sloshes back this way. And then it becomes much warmer and much wetter in this area. And then over here where it's supposed to be warm and wet, now it's very dry. All right. Number 3, what does El Nino mean for weather patterns? Okay, so it's supposed to be, this is really difficult to do in the reverse. Okay, it's supposed to be wet over here in Australia, but during an El Nino, when the water goes this way, it's very dry. In Peru, in this area of South America, it's actually very dry before it hits the Andes Mountains, and then over this side it's very wet, right? That's where we have the Amazon. But so over in this area during an El Nino, it's actually very wet when typically it's actually dry. Number 4, what do scientists believe triggers an El Nino event? So basically an El Nino event is sort of a redistribution of heat on the planet, redistribution of heat from ocean to atmosphere, atmosphere to ocean. So that's basically what it does. It starts in the atmosphere and then it moves to the ocean. Alrighty, then you had your El Nino and La Nina activity on 25, and hopefully you colored your little map right here like I asked you to. Then for your conclusion. So what's been the trend in recent atmospheric carbon dioxide levels? Well, so carbon dioxide is increasing. What is global warming? Gradual warming of the planet. What do scientists hypothesize as to the cause of global warming? More carbon dioxide, you bet. What is likely causing the trend? Burning fossil fuels. How do carbon dioxide levels relate to climate change and global warming? Okay, more carbon dioxide equals warmer atmosphere equals warmer planet, global warming. How are glaciers indicators of climate change? Well, if the glaciers are melting, the planet's heating up. They're not advancing at all. And a lot of them are even disappearing, which is really kind of scary. Number 7, if global warming continues, what are the implications for El Nino or ENSO events? So if it continues,